I'm here at the Fortune Gallery with my exhibition One Wave. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a look at what I've been up to. These paintings are painted on birchwood, and I wanted to describe my experience of working as a painter surrounded by the water most of my life. And so this year I've been on the water a lot more than usual, little boats and that sort of thing, and it really gave me a chance to think about the water as a subject, and I went ahead and decided to make a whole collection of works. Some of them are quite small, 8 by 24 inches, but I decided to take this idea and also move into a larger format, which is a little tricky, bigger brushes, bigger energy, but the most important thing I wanted to do is I didn't want to copy photographs. I wanted it to be alive. I wanted the waves to be made of paint, not paint copying waves. And so this whole process came about of attacking the subject, which is full of energy and full of life, with paint that has a lot of expression and a lot of movement in it. And it kept going. It kept being sort of a presence in my life, so that I wasn't planning on making the show, but the show made itself. And it took about 1.5 years to pull all this work together. So I'm working on birchwood panels, I'm using wax, I'm using powdered pigment that I make into a paint. So there's a lot of sort of technical things going on with this work. But the main thing I really wanted to do is make sure that the wood that I started with has a presence in the work. And you can see it over in this one over here very well. I might have to come up close. This piece, One Wave for the Storm Moon, I really developed through this process of finding a beautiful piece of wood that had a sense of movement in it, of the air and the energy of the water coming through, even in the dark. And that was part of the way that the work evolved. And the most important thing too is the brushes that I'm working with are Korean brushes. Asian brushes have a kind of tendency to give an expressive mark that I really love. And you can see it in these pieces here where I began with almost a calligraphic touch and then let the wateriness and the moodiness come through it. It shows in this whole series very well. And this one has a lot of the wood grain flowing through. One Way for Discovery. It was all about finding the energy, finding the mark, starting with the shadow line, and then letting it come through like a wave. And these all have a little bit of that very direct response to the brush, the paint, the color, the luminous quality of the color meeting the energy of this mark that comes from the wood. A few of them, I'm going to move over here for a second. This big piece here, I remember there was a tsunami warning a few years ago, and everybody was worried about this big wave that was going to come or might not. And I thought this is a presence in our lives sometimes, living on the water, that someday there could be a big wave. But this piece was really about this ominous feeling. No wave happened, but the feeling was really strong, and the imagination takes off with it. And I thought the imagination around the water is really emotional and really has a lot of presence. So I started to create different moody paintings that felt like, here's one where the moonlight is hitting the wave. It's a very different experience seeing water, wild water in the moonlight. Or here I was remembering being in the Caribbean where the water, the color of the water and the sand is white underneath, so it bursts this light through it. So, the quality of light and paint and energy and movement, I just couldn't stop painting. So I created this entire collection in about 1.5 years, and I call it One Wave.